Delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaped his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church, getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month Luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, oh, come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580, download the
app. I'm Jesse Jackson. Looking forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Today is February 17th. And normally during Black History Month, I would lay out all of the amazing accomplishments that African Americans have accomplished, at least for a few individuals that matter in the history of African Americans and in the history of the United States and the history of our world. But this day, unlike other days, will go down in history as a milestone, a turning point in my own life, the death of the Reverend Jesse Jackson, the death of my father. And I can't think of a higher moment at this hour than celebrating his life. I want to thank Tavis Smiley, my boss, for his willingness to dedicate the last 3 hours of his show surveying, excavating the life of Jesse Jackson, what he meant to all of us, the body politic, to our world, to humanity, and the spirit that encompassed who he was. It's really, really hard for me to talk about my dad as a was, because for the 60 or so years that I've lived, he's always been an is and not a was. But I can't think of a person more worthy of reflection. I began part of that reflection in the previous hour with Tavis Smiley, and due to a technical difficulty, Tavis was unable to, I was unable to finish the conversation. But I want to welcome our very special guest to the show, none other than one of the great voices in the history of radio and the great voices in the history of our leadership, Tavis Smiley. Tavis, welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, I'm always honored to be in conversation with you. And let me just start by saying on behalf of this station and all of us who love and work alongside you and support you, that our sincerest and deepest condolences go out to you, to Miss Jackie, and to the entire Jackson family on the loss of your precious father. We don't ever close on the death of loved ones like we close on a house or close on some deal. So you're going to be dealing with this for quite a while. How do I know? Because I lost my father not too long ago. My father was not an international figure as yours was, but the pain is still there. And so there are moments of pain. There are moments of joy. Some things make me laugh. Some things make me cry. And you'll have to navigate your way through that. But your father was strong, and you were strong, as are your siblings and your mom. And so you will, in the days ahead, navigate your way through this. But there are a couple of thoughts that I just want to share right quick, if I can. As you were talking a moment ago about Black history and the way you typically open your show every day, as I listen to it every day. In Black History Month, you start with a Black history fact. But your father is the Black history fact today, all that he accomplished on our behalf. And so I was sort of smiling. Again, I'm in a lot of pain right now, and I can't even begin to imagine how you feel. But I was thinking about the beauty and the poignance of your father transitioning in Black History Month. In the month that we celebrate the 100th anniversary of these celebrations. And so leave it to Jesse Jackson to go out in Black History Month. We celebrate him every February anyway, but for him to transition in Black History Month, again, as we celebrate the 100th anniversary of these annual celebrations, is just it's arresting for me. And you didn't get a chance to hear what I said at the end of my hours. I want to just repeat it so that you can hear it. I know the audience heard it. But I said that the greatest compliment that I could ever pay your father, the greatest tribute, is that he loved his people. Jesse L. Jackson Sr. loved us, and he served us. And the way that we honor his life and his legacy and his work and his witness is to do what he did every day, to wake up trying to find new ways to serve our people, loving our people even harder. That's how we honor his life, and that's how we honor his legacy. You do that every day anyway. But I am so blessed to have lived in this era where I got a chance to know your father. I couldn't imagine as a kid having ever met Jesse Jackson, but to have met him and to have known him and to have befriended him, and then to have the honor of working alongside his son on this radio station. I mean, I am blessed beyond measure by my association with the Jackson family. You know, I love your mother dearly. So it's just one of the great joys of my life to have had the opportunity to establish this relationship with your father, with you, and in your entire family. And so our thoughts and prayers are with you, man. I just wanted to come on just to share that and to say that to you directly.
I appreciate that, Tavis. And you know exactly how my father felt about you and your leadership. And I was so grateful that you offered me this opportunity. You've offered members of my family this opportunity to grow, to share, to learn from you and your unique genius in this radio space. I know that we're coming forward in just a moment. Tavis, I hope you can hang around with me for just a few more minutes after the break. I do want to share some insights that may not have been covered in the media about his life, about the person that he was, about what drove him. I think what I have to share does matter, because I think Jesse Jackson is the quintessential leader in the latter half of the last century and the first quarter of this century. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward with my boss, Tavis Smiley.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I have some news. The room is full. Our founding members cohort on the Art of Conversation has begun, and I could not be more energized by the professionals who said yes to mastering the craft. Their dedication to curating great conversations reminds me why I do this work. Now, if you wanted to join us and did not make it in time, I want you to hear this. The next cohort is coming. I do not have the firm dates yet, but I do have a waiting list. And everyone on that list will receive early access and special discounts when enrollment opens. After almost 40 years of interviewing world leaders and cultural icons, I am teaching everything I know. Don't miss your chance to be in the next room. Go to TavishTalks.com and get on the waiting list right now. That's TavishTalks.com. The conversation continues. Will you be part of it?
Yeah, man.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for and there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait. And don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. My very special guest is none other than the great Tavis Smiley. Tavis really needs no introduction. Tavis, welcome forward to the show.
Glad to be with you, man. Glad to be with you on this very somber but special day.
Let me share with you what yesterday was like. Yesterday, I received a call about a candidates forum in the 2nd Congressional District that I was supposed to appear at yesterday evening.
Mm-hmm.
And the candidates forum had been moved from yesterday evening to between 11 and 1 o'clock yesterday morning into the afternoon. And I had to rush from the show to get from the candidates forum to the show. And that's the context of yesterday's show. I got here just in time, and I was grateful for that. But something in my spirit told me that I needed to be with Dad. So at 4 o'clock after the show, I changed clothes and went to my parents' apartment on Crandon, 6701 Crandon, here in the city of Chicago. And Dad's breathing was labored. He obviously was incapacitated, but he was still with us. And so my brothers and sisters, and we laughed and we joked. And of course, my mother, Jacqueline Jackson, was holding court and going off on everything that's happening in the world and all of that. And Dad looked very withdrawn, very tired, but his breathing was pronounced. There was something that was profoundly wrong. My little sister Jackie was there with her boyfriend, and Gina was there with me, and Dr. Arnold, who's a very close and dear friend of ours, was with us as well. As it wore into the evening, the only people remaining at the home was my mother, myself, to provide care, along with Gina and Jan Camps. And I fell asleep on the couch right next to Dad. Was prepared to stay there all night with him, as I've done for the course of this particular phase of his life, or some nights, 3 nights a week. So it was my turn. None of my siblings were there. They had all left. And about 12:35 this morning, I heard a gasp. That's how close I was to Dad. And it was a deep and a long gasp. Loud and long enough to wake me up. So I went over to check on him, and I didn't sense any movement. And I said, something's wrong. So I went to the restroom, Came back out and I checked on him again. And I didn't know quite what was going on, but I went over to Jan and I said, Jan, did you hear that? And she said, I did hear that. And she peeked around the corner and I said, something's not right here. I then went over to wake up my mother and I said, Mom, wake up. Something's not right here. I'm not hearing Dad. And she opened one eye and said, he'll be all right. I'll talk with him in the morning. I said, Mom, Dad's not breathing. Mom got up. We went over. Mom grabbed her husband. She looked at him very carefully. And she said, it's happened. Dad's gone. I said, Dad's gone? I said, what do you mean Dad is gone? Dad's gone. She then went and started reaching out to the caregivers who at 1:30 in the morning began arriving at the house. And she reached out to Chris Hodges and to others in the mayor's office in the city of Chicago who wanted to be notified immediately if anything had changed in his condition. The caregivers came, and at 1:52 a.m. this morning, they declared that Reverend had passed, that he was deceased. Reached out to Yusef and to Jonathan and to all of my siblings who, by 2:15 in the morning, all of them had arrived, and we all began crying and praying and trying to hold the pieces of our family together, and everyone was breaking down, and I couldn't believe it. By about 3 o'clock in the morning, Mom reached out to Spencer Leak, the Leak family, when we first came to Chicago in the late 60s and early 70s. Essentially a destitute family. My father had 3 children and my mother at that time. And they gave us a place to stay in an apartment over on Ridgeland Avenue in the city of Chicago. The Leak family are prominent funeral directors here in the city of Chicago. Spencer Leak, his mother, his wife, all came after Reverend had been pronounced deceased. We began the process of cleaning up our father and putting fresh clothes on him, fresh pajamas. And then we prepared his body, prayed over it again. Other ministers began calling and praying for him as well. And in order to beat the breaking news, we obviously had to get my father out of the apartment. And at that point, I took him along with the Leak family by myself, along with Lamel McMorris, to Leak Funeral Home, where we unloaded Dad and took him into the funeral home. And then it begins to set in that Jesse Jackson belongs to the ages. That's what my night looked like. That's what my morning had looked like. And just the overwhelming response from colleagues and friends and people from all over the world, non-stop emailing, texting, communicating, people celebrating the life of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. That's what it was like. And I thought in that moment, Tavis, that here is a man who is essentially leaving the world with the same things he came into it with. Dad said that faith without character doesn't work. That you have to have character. That character breeds faith. That in the end, faith will not disappoint. And I think about all of the abysses, Tavis, that Dad looked into in his life. Rejection, the abysses of growing up in the segregated South, and the things that he had to overcome in order to become the Jesse Jackson that he was, he became, are so extraordinary because he genuinely believed and understood that the rejected stones of a nation, of a people, of a marriage could become the cornerstones of a new order. And that drove his ministry. It motivated him. And it was the sole source of his motivation. So you couldn't tell him no. He never accepted no. He never accepted second-class citizenship. And those motivating forces, including a commitment to honor the task that was given to him by Martin Luther King Jr., that is to empower Black businesses, to speak up for our people, took his amazing life all over the world. And so in a real sense, we don't celebrate someone who is known for being a billionaire or known for being a Bitcoin collector or someone who prided themselves in the things that they had. My dad had a few pair of shoes. He was always fairly sharp and always appropriate. But Jesse Jackson gave of himself. And so the outpouring of support are for the sermons that he's preached.
Mm-hmm.
The outpouring of support are for the funerals that he's preached, for the people that he visited in the hospital, for the people that he helped get a job, for the people that he made rich and then never came back and contributed $1 to the effort that he helped fight for them to get where they were in their station of life. And I don't know anyone, Tavis, who's ever been more unique than Jesse Jackson in history. And I've tried my best as his son to look at him as objectively as I could, even accepting that when I disappointed him myself, he never saw it as disappointment. He always told me that I could hold my head high, that what didn't break me could make me, that I could rise above my circumstance, that he would remind me of his own origins and his own story. And he wanted his story to be my story. He wanted his story to be Tavis's story, that when we fell, that we could get back up, that we could tighten our spines, that we could look up, we could hold our head highs, even in the context of disappointment and discouragement. Jesse Jackson was one of the great motivators of people. I used to try to figure out, Tavis, where he got that energy. And that energy came, I am more convinced than ever, that when people told him he couldn't, he kept pressing forward. He did. And he made a way out of no way. He said that God makes lemons. He doesn't make lemonade. He makes oranges. He doesn't make orange juice. He makes peaches. He doesn't make peach cobbler. He said a collard green is a weed until you add a ham hock to it. Dad Tavis had a way of making a way out of nowhere, and it motivated him. It drove him, and even I just don't know a day where people didn't lean on his shoulder and he didn't hug them or offer them some grace in life. Yeah. And so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I studied him, and that so many of us have benefited from his great work. Tavis, some of your insights.
No, I don't know. There's nothing I can really say behind that. I could listen to you talk about your dad for hours, just taking that in, that sharing. I do want to say a couple of things. One, I said on my program earlier today before you joined us, and I wanted to say this publicly. We owe a debt of gratitude. Many of us owe a debt of gratitude to the Jackson family. Not just for the sacrifice you all made for all those decades when your father could have been at home with you, but was running around the country and around the world serving us and frankly rescuing some of us. So I can't imagine, again, the sacrifice that your family made, again, to allow him to handle his business or handle the people's business when he could have again been at home with you all. So I want you to know that I recognize that, and many others do, that you all shared him with us, and that means a lot to us. Secondly, I want to say that for those of us who had the opportunity at the invitation of the family, myself included, to go visit your father in his final days, that means a great deal to me. I will hold on to that for the rest of my life. Every family has the agency to decide how they want to protect, preserve, allow, disallow others in when their loved ones are doing that dance with mortality. But because you all were so good about giving him to us and sharing him with us, even in his final days, you stayed true to that. And I know a number of people. I've talked to them: Ron Daniels and Cornel West and Al Sharpton and Michael Eric Dyson and Bill Clinton and Tavis Smiley. There were so many people who wanted to say a proper goodbye to your father. And you all were kind enough to let us come into his sacred space, reserved for family only, to have a moment with your father. Again, the sacrifice of you all doing that is not lost on me. And the other thing I want to say is, as I listen to you talk, and to your point, life for us ain't been no crystal stair. We have ups, we have downs, and we have to navigate our way through that. But on so many occasions in my life when I've had to navigate myself through difficult spaces, I could hear your father saying to me, as he said to me so often, Tavis, the ground is no place for a champion. The ground is no place for a champion. And so in those moments, on those occasions where I got knocked down by the world, I could hear your father saying to me, the ground is no place for a champion. Get back up. Earlier on our program today, again, when Dr. West was on, we played the song Stand by Donnie McClurkin, because I know how much your father loved that song Stand. And the lyrics hit me today in ways they've never hit me before. Those lyrics speak to me and help me understand better why your father so much loved that song. We played that song. It was a moment. I've been getting messages from listeners all around the country about what that moment meant for us just to play that song and to let it ride, and for people to just feel what Donnie McClurkin is espousing in those lyrics and how that applies to the life of your father. He stood firm. He stood strong. He didn't back down. Dr. King, his hero, always said, when you straighten your back up, you're going somewhere, because a man can't ride your back unless it's bent. And so I just celebrate your father in so many ways. And today's just the first day. There'll be many more celebrations, many more conversations on my show and other shows around this country and around the globe. But I hope finally that you and your family feel the outpouring of love that so many of us have for what your father did in sacrifice to us. I hope that buoys you in some way, even in a very, very difficult moment like this, Jesse.
You know, Tavis, I really appreciate that. And I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity on KBLA, because Dad used to listen to our show. He listens to your show. He was proud of the work that you were doing. And, you know, I could talk about him. I could talk about him all day. I got some pretty funny things I want to share when we come forward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm on the show today with my boss and my very good friend, Tavis Smiley. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Reverend Al Sharpton is mourning the loss of civil rights icon Reverend Jesse Jackson. Sharpton says he's known Jackson since he was just 12 years old and credits him with shaping both American politics and his own life.
So he made me believe even a kid on welfare in Brownsville, Brooklyn, could be somebody.
Jackson, who worked closely with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., is remembered for carrying the civil rights movement forward after Dr. King's assassination. Former President Barack Obama says there's still one person he hopes to meet, Pope Leo XIV. The Chicago-born pontiff and the first pope from the U.S. has never met the 44th president. Speaking on the No Lie podcast, Obama says he's looking forward to a future meeting. And actor Coleman Domingo will receive the President's Award at this year's NAACP Image Awards, honoring his distinguished public service and cultural impact. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A couple of sports questions come up as people around the world remember the life and legacy of civil rights icon Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. What if the San Francisco Giants had offered Jackson more than $6,000 in 1959 to sign a minor league baseball contract? Jackson was a standout pitcher at Sterling High School in Greenville, South Carolina. What if the University of Illinois had given Jackson a fair chance to play quarterback? At 6'4", Jackson had the size and skills to earn a full scholarship from the Big Ten Conference school. Jackson stayed at Illinois just 1 year. He transferred in 1960 to HBCU North Carolina A&T. Jackson led A&T to the CIAA championship in 1964, but it was at North Carolina A&T where Jackson's focus shifted away from sports. Today, we can thank the San Francisco Giants and the University of Illinois for sending Jackson into a much more valuable direction. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the Southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on February 17th, where we are looking back and reflecting upon the life of my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, an extraordinary figure in African American history. In fact, Carter G. Woodson founded African Black History Month, which was Negro History Week when he first founded it, encompassing the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. It would later expand to Black History Month and become a full month. Of course, the shortest month of the year. Carter G. Woodson argued that Black History Month was every single day of the year. There's so much overlapping history of the contribution of African Americans to America. In fact, we made America what she is today, democratic, and fighting to save that democracy was part of Jesse Jackson's work. On this Tenacious Tuesday, our very special guest is always one of my father's closest and dearest friends and advocates for social justice, responsible for No King's Days and many of the walkouts and boycotts that have been taking place in the resistance movement, none other than the Honorable Barbara Arnwine. Barbara's going to be joining us in just a moment, but I did want to share with you something kind of interesting. About two months ago, I found a way to communicate with Dad after about 6 months of being unable to communicate with him. He could raise his right hand. And so I was sitting there, my family in the other room, along with a number of other friends, trying to communicate with Dad. And what Tavis can attest to was when he spoke to you, he would squeeze your hand to let you know that he was hearing what you were saying, even though he couldn't see you.
Yes.
So I convinced him, Barbara, to, Dad, if you can hear us, raise your right hand. He would raise his right hand. And so I said, Mom, come look at this. If you ask Dad a question, he'll raise his right hand and he will tell you exactly what he's trying to say without saying it. He'll simply answer in the affirmative. If he does not raise his hand, he doesn't agree. So I said, Dad, if you are tired of sitting or laying in a room in the dark, listening to Mom and all of her conspiracy, will you raise your right hand? He lifted his right hand over his head. And then I said, Dad, if you are tired of Mama shouting at you in your current condition, will you raise your right hand? You raise his right hand. Dad, if you are tired of Mama blaming all of the problems that's going on in the world on you and what the Negro people ain't doing, will you raise your right hand? He raised both hands. I said, Dad, listen, Dad, if you would like to get up out this bed and go to push and just sit behind your desk, would you raise your right hand for at least 8 hours a day just to get out of all of this that's going on in this? And he raised both hands. And my mother came over to me and said, I really didn't appreciate that. She gonna make him earn these 64 years by making him listen. You gonna sit here and listen. You ain't gonna run out of here and go to Syria. You ain't going to Cuba. You ain't going nowhere else in the world. You're gonna sit right here for the next however long. You're gonna hear my point of view. So,
I love it.
Barbara, Jesse Jackson was your great friend. Share with us some thoughts about his passing in this hour.
It's been hard. I just, last night, and everyone, it was, around 2 when I found out in the morning Eastern. And I didn't know what to do, frankly. There's sometimes you're so stunned, and it doesn't matter how you prepared for this. I mean, no matter how you prepare, you're not really ever really emotionally and psychically, prepared. And so when I found out for sure and knew it was that he was gone, I went to my Bible and I pulled out the passage, Jesus wept. And it was so just invigorating to be reminded that a resurrecting Savior who knew that he could restore the life of Lazarus. Nevertheless, when he was troubled in spirit, it said, and then Jesus, he wept. And it didn't say he sobbed. It didn't say he cried out. It said he wept. And it was to remind us that death is a special kind of loss. And that that is so stinging that even Jesus wept, knowing he could and would resurrect Lazarus. It's a reminder to us that it's okay to let go and to weep and to rejoice that you had a life that was that special. Your dad was amazing. There is no one like him. He's irreplaceable. He's so iconic. He's just and I know he was dad to you and but to so many of us, he would say to me, I would say, hi, Reverend Jackson. And you know what he would say to me? I'm your brother. I'm your brother. That's what he loved to say. And he meant it. He was a friend, a protector. He was just, so brilliant, so bold, so creative. I just don't know where to start or where to end other than to say, like so many in this world, I loved him deeply.
Let me tell you something funny. This morning, my mother was celebrating Dad's life in a very, very special way. And I know I'm probably going too far here, but I'm going to say it anyway.
What did she do?
Well, she began preaching her own little sermon, of about 20 of us, on who Jesse Jackson was. And I'm not going to use this language on the radio, but she simply said this man had courage.
Right.
And she had never met anyone
Yes.
this kind of courage. She called him her ride or die. And the language that she used more specifically was, he had a big pair. She said she didn't use the word pair. And she went on and on and on and on, not using the word pair, but she talked about it. You think about Jesse Jackson going to Syria when Donald Rumsfeld, Reagan's emissary to Syria, did not mention the name Robert Goodman. Dad, when that Rumsfeld revelation came about, Jesse Jackson said, I can go get that boy. All I got to do is get to Assad. If I can get to him, if I can get to Syria and get to Assad, I can get him out. When I think about the men and the women, the families, the more than 300, I believe it was, that he brought back from overseas, some people thought it couldn't be done. But he said, if I can just get to the leadership, if I can convince them with clergymen and Muslims and Christians and Jews, if I could convince them to just let me get to the leadership and we could pray with them. He even took the minister Farrakhan with him, who prayed in Islamic language. And it convinced them that they had kinship with us. And they released those 300 families, took a 747 and sent them back to England and to the United States. Jesse Jackson had a pair that mattered. He had real courage. And I'll never forget that leadership, because at times like this, we have to risk for peace. And that's what Jesse Jackson did. More when we come forward about Jesse Jackson on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest is none other than Barbara Arnwine, one of my father's closest friends. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass, and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs. LADWP urges everyone to always keep safety top of mind. If you see a downed wire, don't touch it. Stay far away and call 911 immediately. Downed wires can be deadly. Whether you're at home, work, or on the road, always assume the wire is live. Together, we can keep Los Angeles safe and powered. Learn more at ladwp.com/electric safety.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on what is an extremely difficult day for me, February 17th, 2026. I lost my father at 12:35 a.m., sometime between 12:35 a.m. and 12:37 a.m. He stopped breathing and triggered a series of events of reflection in our lives, and sadness and sorrow, and also extreme gratitude for the people that came into contact with our father's life more than we'll ever know, because we spent Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays with our dad, but he was back on the road, traveling millions of miles, speaking hope into the less fortunate, the left behind, the damned, the disinherited. He referred to them in his Democratic Convention speech. I want to take this opportunity before I go back to Barbara Arnwine, who will be with us in the next hour. My mom has been an amazing partner and caregiver, along with my siblings and a team of caregivers over a decade for my dad. Even as evidence last night, people came when we were called, when they were called, and I'm so proud of how brave my mom has been, in tandem with the bravery, courage, fight, perseverance my dad had to his very last breath. The great Jesse Jackson is no longer with us. He now belongs to the ages. And going forward, of course, is the question, what are we going to do? No one person can fulfill the shoes of Jesse Jackson. It will take a lot of people to be one Jesse Jackson. A lot of people are doing his work, not only in elective office, And there will be a lot of reflection over Jesse Jackson running for president in 1984 and 1988. He didn't start in 84 and 88. Jesse Jackson had been registering voters since the 1965 Voting Rights Act. He encouraged Andy Young. He encouraged Maynard Jackson. He encouraged Richard Gordon Hatcher and other members of the Congressional Black Caucus to run for president in 1984, and none of them would. He said the moment is ripe. The moment is propitious. From Virginia around to Texas, where more than 60% of African Americans live, if in fact we register them to vote, we can win. And so Reverend began a Southern crusade throughout the South, registering and inspiring people in Sugar Ditch, Mississippi, Deep Delta in Alabama, Mississippi, and throughout the South. And with 9 or 10 candidates in the race, Reverend Jackson finished first, second, or third in many of those contests. And he laid the stage not only for Barack Obama and for African Americans like Raphael Warnock and others to win their seats in the United States Senate. He also laid the stage for county officials and state representatives. He served as a national beacon of light for hope and opportunity. He brought farmers into the process. He brought agricultural workers into the process. He did not believe there was such thing as an illegal human being. So he would stand up for immigrants in this nation. He would recognize that it wasn't that the immigrants were here, it's that our economy wasn't growing on our side of town to accommodate everyone who needs a job and needs an opportunity. And so Jesse Jackson began talking about the economy differently as a way to lift boats that were stuck at the bottom. And so the highlights are some speeches and the conventions in 1984 and 1988. But Jesse Jackson, wow. Jesse Jackson, from the death of Martin Luther King Jr., honored the assignment given to him by his mentor to help Black businesses, to help the Black middle class grow. And over time, Jesse Jackson recognized that that in and of itself was not enough. People deserved the right to health care of equal high quality. Yes, Obamacare, but Obamacare and the Single Payer Act is not enough. Every American should have a floor beneath which no one is without health care. He believed every person should have a job, earning a wage that made it sufficient for them to provide for their families and have savings. He believed that. He believed that not because it was political, but because it was in the moral code, that our harmony and tranquility as a nation, people coming together, was tied to how well this country was doing, whether it was in Texas, California, the state of Illinois, whether it was in New York, whether it was in a barrio ghetto or a trailer park. Every American, by virtue of the fact that they were a human being, had rights and privileges as children of God that they deserved. And I can't tell you how proud I am of this man on this occasion as the nation turns its attention to the contribution of Jesse Jackson. And Barbara, just before because I know you're going to be with me in the next hour, I do want to say this.
Yes.
Confidentially, but not so confidentially now, Jesse Jackson did everything he could to make Donald Trump better. Now,
He tried.
us may laugh at that because it can't be done, but he tried. Making America great again is a slogan. It also comes with a pretty mean spirit from those of us who've been rejected and left outside of some of the callous nature of the administration itself. But Jesse Jackson tried his best to get Donald Trump to become better, to share with him that he had moral obligation and a moral authority, the moral authority to do right by people who've been left behind, to reenfranchise not just the people that he supported, but to reenfranchise everybody who finds themselves in second-class citizenship. Jesse Jackson's last letter to President Donald John Trump was about 70 million people who needed exactly what Abraham Lincoln did for the slaves, the right to restore their lives. And he wrote them a lengthy letter, especially for 70,000 medical professionals who made a technical error in their judgment and can no longer practice medicine again simply because the Democratic Party nor the Republican Party will turn to their forgiveness. Dad fundamentally believed that at the end of all of the great political debates and fights, when he spent time at the bedside of Hubert Humphrey before he died, he asked Hubert Humphrey, what is the sum of it all? What is the sine qua bonum of it all? And Hubert Humphrey turned to Dad and said, in the final analysis, Jesse, right before he died, he said, we must forgive each other, we must redeem each other, and we must move on. And Dad, from the moment he heard that from Hubert Humphrey, recognized that when all of the fighting is over, red versus blue, Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative, if the nation is going to endure, this is big stuff here now. This is big Jesus stuff right here now. We're going to have to find a way to forgive our neighbor and get over it and then move forward and find common ground. That we're going to have to find a way to move from racial battleground to common ground and onto economic higher ground and moral higher ground. Barbara, your very special friend, is no longer with us. We have about 2 minutes before we come forward. I know you're going to be with me in the next hour. The final 2 minutes of this particular hour are yours.
He is living legacy. Don't ever let anybody just think it's about the past. We're not here to get him a statue. We're not here to have people just glorify him. We're here because he laid a path forward for all of us to fight, for all of us to to follow, to make major change. And I can't wait to talk about what is in this world that would not be here had it not been for Jesse Jackson. There's so much of a list that we need to go through. And so I can't wait to talk more about him and just to keep lifting up how we fight in his honor. Not sit around just talk, but how we fight in his honor. Can't wait. Thank you.
I try my best most of my life to live up to the name of Jesse Jackson. And those of you who may be learning about Jesse Jackson for the first time on this show in a deep, emotionally intense and vulnerable way, it's impossible. My shortcomings are largely tied to what I couldn't accomplish from my perspective in his eyesight. He was very proud of me, and I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud and grateful that God sent him my way. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Reverend Al Sharpton is mourning the loss of civil rights icon Reverend Jesse Jackson. Sharpton says he's known Jackson since he was just 12 years old and credits him with shaping both American politics and his own life.
So he made me believe even a kid on welfare in Brownsville, Brooklyn, could be somebody.
Jackson, who worked closely with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., is remembered for carrying the civil rights movement forward after Dr. King's assassination. Former President Barack Obama says there's still one person he hopes to meet, Pope Leo XIV. The Chicago-born pontiff and the first pope from the U.S. has never met the 44th president. Speaking on the No Lie podcast, Obama says he's looking forward to a future meeting. And actor Coleman Domingo will receive the President's Award at this year's NAACP Image Awards, honoring his distinguished public service and cultural impact. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A couple of sports questions come up as people around the world remember the life and legacy of civil rights icon Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. What if the San Francisco Giants had offered Jackson more than $6,000 in 1959 to sign a minor league baseball contract? Jackson was a standout pitcher at Sterling High School in Greenville, South Carolina. What if the University of Illinois had given Jackson a fair chance to play quarterback? At 6'4", Jackson had the size and skills to earn a full scholarship from the Big Ten Conference School. Jackson stayed at Illinois just 1 year. He transferred in 1960 to HBCU North Carolina A&T. Jackson led A&T to the CIAA championship in 1964, but it was at North Carolina A&T where Jackson's focus shifted away from sports. Today, we can thank the San Francisco Giants and the University of Illinois for sending Jackson into a much more valuable direction. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message. Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I have some news. The room is full. Our founding members cohort on the art of conversation has begun, and I could not be more energized by the professionals who said yes to mastering the craft. Their dedication to curating great conversations reminds me why I do this work. Now, if you wanted to join us and did not make it in time, I want you to hear this. The next cohort is coming. I do not have the firm dates yet, but I do have a waiting list. And everyone on that list will receive early access and special discounts when enrollment opens. After almost 40 years of interviewing world leaders and cultural icons, I am teaching everything I know. Don't miss your chance to be in the next room. Go to TavishTalks.com and get on the waiting list right now. That's TavishTalks.com. The conversation continues. Will you be part of it? Yeah, man.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Jesse Jackson Jr., welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 15. It's Tuesday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on this 7th day of February of Black History Month. My very special guest is the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition, none other than the Honorable Barbara Barnwine. And Barbara, before I bring on our other guest who will be joining us as well momentarily, you know, I was thinking during the break while I was composing myself that they said my dad never had a job. He's been called all kinds of names, some quarters. And I don't think his resume reflects, beyond some of the initial jobs that he had as a teenager, any kind of employment like one might consider. So I've had classmates who were lawyers, and I've had classmates whose parents were doctors and PhDs, and they were certainly well positioned in the middle class of the nation, certainly the black middle class. And when asked the question, what my dad did, I would tell them that he's a civil rights activist, that he's a minister, and for some reason or another, the qualifications for what my dad did didn't quite reach the standards of some of the elite thinking in academia or even in our own particular value systems. But my dad did something no one else did. He gave people hope.
Yes.
He gave them hope. And he made his living off of giving people hope. And hope was so tangible and palpable for him that he could feel hope. And he would reach out to Michael Jordan when Michael Jordan was in a slump at the Chicago Bulls. He would tell Michael that the ground was no place for a champion. I think Michael Jordan came out of that slump after having listened to a sermon by Jesse Jackson, a private sermon by Jesse Jackson, scored about 40 points that night. He told him that the ground was no place for a champion. I remember him.
There you go.
Speaking with Larry Holmes and other boxers before they get in the ring, and Muhammad Ali and others, and motivating them. He was a kind of hype man to make them feel and share with them that they were not just carrying the burden of an athletic giant. They were also carrying the burden of a people. Man, my dad knew Joe Louis. He knew Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens' funeral and Joe Louis's funeral. And so he talked about the hope that they gave him as a young child growing up when Joe Louis knocked out Max Schmeling. And he talked about the hope that Jesse Owens, standing up to Hitler and to fascists.
Yes.
Jesse Owens came back and said he couldn't even not only could he not shake Hitler's hand, Hitler didn't want to shake his hand. He said Franklin Delano Roosevelt didn't want to shake his hand either. So he had those conversations with Jesse Owens. And so I'm just so grateful, Barbara. I know that you have a litany of thoughts about Jesse Jackson. Take your time.
No, first of all, thank you. I hope your whole family knows how much it meant to us that you shared him with us. And he could not have been the man he was without a family that supported him so amazingly. And look at the fruit of his tree. As you and I have been talking on this show, and as you're paying tribute to your dad, with all your amazing accomplishments, all the brilliance you brought into this thought around voting rights and everything, the challenges you've given us. I was also reading Yusef. He was blowing up my phone. I was just blowing up because despite what's going on, Yusef is planning to take buses, loads of people to Selma.
Isn't that something? You said 6 buses confirmed to be in 6 buses confirmed of people that he's taking to Selma for the commemoration of the march across Selma. I think sometime between the 5th and the 10th of.
Yes, it's gonna be the 5th and the 9th. It's the 5th through the 9th. Yes,
5th through the 9th. Yes.
And we're marching across that bridge on the 8th. And I just can't get over. I mean, he is doing that work in the middle of all of this, sorrow and mourning. I mean, I'm reading the statements, people are, mourning, they're distraught, and his children, like you, are doing the work. It says miles about who he is. One of the things that I want to talk about that very few people think of is that without Jesse Louis Jackson Sr., all of these Black women candidates, all these Black women politicians that you see wouldn't exist. You see, he broke the mold. He was the mold breaker. In the 60s, Black women, as accomplished as so many were not given their due in the movement. They were not put on the front lines. They were relegated to the kitchens, even when they were brilliant, and were doing all the strategy and making all the difference. Because when he came to Operation Breadbasket and got to meet and work with the amazing Addie Wyatt, got to work with the amazing Winnie Burroughs, because he married Jacqueline Jackson, who became his wife, Jackson, because he had strong women. He wasn't afraid of strong women. That wasn't part of his identity. Keeping women down was not part of his identity. In fact, he was the exact opposite. He lifted women up. Think about it, folks. Alexis Herman, Jesse Jackson mentee. Think about it. Donna Brazile, Jesse Jackson mentee.
I'm going to let you go right through that list of mentees as soon as we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580. This is our Tenacious Tuesday with none other than the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition, Barbara Arnwine. More when we come forward in just a moment.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
You got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence
with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaped his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church, getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait. And don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the
It's February 17th, 2026, a memorable day in African American history for a number of reasons. For the most important reason that is in front of me today is the day that I lost my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who's been a pillar of strength for our nation. At dark times, he offered hope and provided hope to millions of people around the world. So grateful that his life came our way. Barbara, just before the break, you were going through a litany of women who were strong, who helped provide the kind of strength that Jesse Jackson needed to propel our movement forward.
And think about it if these women had not been there. You know, just think about when you were talking about the people he influenced, think about all those people who became cabinet members because of his influence. You know, Alexis Herman, U.S. Secretary of Labor, you know, all of those Clinton appointees that he had direct impact on. You know, I look, you know, at, you know, Donna Brazile, who will tell you in a heartbeat that she owes everything to your dad's tutelage. Look at the brilliant and amazing Mignon Moore. Come on now. Here's another woman who has been a leader in the whole political field. Leah Daltrey, Reverend Leah Daltrey. I mean, Janice Mathis. I mean, I just want people to just think about NCNW. I just want people to think about all of his influence, because if he had had his vision, if it had prevailed in this country, Congress wouldn't look the way it looks now. The state legislatures would look radically different because women would be in top positions. I'm sorry, people. That's just the reality. The other thing I loved about your dad is he loved young people. Good God Almighty. I've never seen anybody that loved young people like he did. I mean, he would walk into a room and pick up people, your children even, and just hug them because he had such a joy in them. He would come to our trainings for the Transformative Justice Coalition, where we would train young people. And all day long, they've been blowing up my email also, blowing up my texts, blowing up any communications that they have to say, thank you, just thank you for introducing us to Reverend Jackson. He's been an inspiration for me, for us. They have just made me cry, tears, with their love for him.
Barbara,
Love them.
some of his work is in very tangible ways. For example, we eat McDonald's, Big Macs, French fries, all of that. And there are hundreds, maybe thousands of McDonald's franchises across the country. These are individual businesses owned by individual operators. Reverend's research team looked, for example, decades ago at the number of African-American franchisees of McDonald's. And he challenged the McDonald's Corporation to say, listen, you got all these McDonald's franchises in Black communities across the country and not a single Black owner of a McDonald's franchise. He did the same thing with Burger King and Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pepsi Cola and Coca-Cola. Advanced African Americans demanding that they have African Americans on their board, demanding that we had franchisees, demanding that grocery stores be built in our communities.
Yes.
I mean, so to be named, I'm trying not to make this about myself at all, but to be named Jesse Jackson Jr. is to have all of the expectations of what the work was that Reverend Jesse Jackson did to expand the Black middle class. And it's not in ways that one might traditionally expect that to happen. It happens because there was always an external force putting pressure on corporate America to consider qualified African Americans to own franchises. When Jesse Jackson began his campaign to expand African American ownership and participation in franchises, it wasn't just food retailers. He also demanded that Ford, big car manufacturer, consider qualified African Americans to be Ford operators and dealers. And many of the beneficiaries of those Ford, as well as Kia, as well as Mercedes-Benz, as well as General Motors products and Cadillacs, Al Johnson Cadillac, the largest African-American Cadillac dealer for decades on the south side of Chicago, owed much of his success in large measure because of the external pressure coming out of the death of Martin Luther King Jr. that Jesse Jackson applied to General Motors and to Cadillac. As a result, many of these car dealers, they seemingly show up when you go to buy a car as if they're there on their own merit, when it's never been meritocracy. It's always been external pressure. Basketball players who now own and take advantage of these deals are the byproduct of that. And even Jesse Jackson's boycott of the Nike Corporation.
Gone now.
Yeah, we boycotted the Nike Corporation. Many people wouldn't believe or remember that. They didn't have a Michael Jordan. They didn't have African American sponsorships of shoes at the level of partnership. Jesse Jackson boycotted Nike, and even though the Nike boycott wasn't as successful as other boycotts, they got the point, and they began finding qualified African Americans to function in these capacities and to really, really grow the Black middle class. And this is the work of Jesse Jackson. And so when someone says, my dad never had a job, I'm like, you have no idea what the job is to be Jesse Jackson. I shared with them the same thing, Barbara, when I got to Congress. You think it's just about voting yes, no, or present, and then coming back and speaking to your constituents about what you think or what you believe? No. People call their congressmen all the time saying, this bank won't lend me money. And I got an idea that works. And Jesse Jackson, even the congressman, has to step up and call the bank and say, why won't you consider this deal? Why won't you consider this? And when it's brought to the right people in the company's attention, sometimes forcibly, they then concede, you know what, this person should have this opportunity. And in fact, they perform and outperform others within the same structure and in the same corporate entity. And that's Jesse Jackson. It's impossible to be Jesse Jackson. In fact, I'm thinking about writing an autobiography called Impossible Growing Up Junior.
Stop.
It's impossible. But Jesse Jackson navigated this space, Barbara, in ways that included so many people.
And look at you here on this radio show, bringing amazing education to all of us, because that's the other thing he was. He was an educator.
Mm.
You know, I mean, as a college student, I'm watching him, and I learned words that I never heard of. Let me tell you one of those words: shareholder.
Yeah, how about that?
Shareholder. Because he would buy the stock so he could speak at shareholder meetings.
That's right.
And I knew nothing about such a thing. Didn't know what stock were. Didn't understand how corporations work. But you had to, as you watched him move, you have to learn these things. His belief in economic empowerment and economic justice and entrepreneurship was deep. And it wasn't just a belief. He knew how to take an idea and make it work. Make it work. Make it work. And he, you know, listen, we're all crying. My son and daughter-in-law came here to sit down with me today because they just had something they had to tell me. And what they wanted to tell me was that they had changed the name of our granddaughter, of my granddaughter. And they had added into her name Jessie because of how much they knew we loved him and how much he meant and means to our family. You see, he might be his bodily gone, but he's left us all spiritually rich, because you talked about that. What did you say? You talked about his courage, that he had a pair. I mean, think about it. When he got back, when they heard he was on his way back with all the hostages, people said to Reagan, "What you gonna do? Shouldn't we prosecute him? He's over there interfering in international affairs." And what did Reagan say? It became famous. It became a famous quote. Reagan's response was, "You can't argue with success."
That's what he said.
Roll out the carpet.
And Dad said, we came over here as a people on a foreign policy called slavery. So I'm engaged in foreign policy from the moment I came and my ancestors came to this country, and I have a right to engage foreign policy. This is a tough day for me on KBLA Talk 1580 this morning. I heard my father take his last breath. I cleaned his body along with my siblings. We then packaged him and wrapped him carefully.
Lord Jesus.
Removed him from his apartment.
Yes,
I
Lord.
loaded him into a hearse at 3 o'clock this morning.
Lord have mercy.
Dropped him off at a funeral home.
Lord have mercy.
My boss, Tavis Smiley, was going to give me the day off, and I really appreciated it. But I decided to come and share with you all what it's like to mourn, what it's like to struggle, but what it's like to be grateful also. Dad brought hundreds of people home from overseas, and Dad would often say, "You know, they never sent me a Christmas card, not one family. Nobody ever sent me a Christmas card to say thank you." I hope when the details of my father's services become available, I hope people whose lives have been touched by the Reverend Jesse Jackson will do me a favor. Just come by for a few moments and say thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice. Barbara, he sacrificed a lot for us.
He did. Loving hands. Loving hands. That's what you did for him this morning. I mean, that's our people when they leave, they want to know that loving hands are there, taking care of their bodies. Loving hands are there, praying over their bodies. Loving hands are there, saying that we'll never let you be forgotten. Loving hands are there, saying your grandchildren will know you, and your great grands will know you. I mean, that's what we want. It's just, human beings on this earth. We want loving hands in our lives. And you and your brothers and your sisters, your mom, loving hands. And that's what's going to get us all through, all of us through. I'm grateful for him because he had loving hands, right? And he just decided that he just loved people and that he would make sure that their lives were better. I mean, Jesse, he took me to places in Arkansas I never heard of, don't remember, because they were hamlets and places. How did he find these people to take and comfort them? But he fought for them and he comforted them. There was nobody. Some people only do things for the high and mighty. He did things for the forgotten, the dismissed, the people, because to him, he really meant it. When he said, I am somebody, he meant everybody is somebody. And your dad, amazing. I'll never forget him in Brunswick, Georgia. Barely able to walk, but determined to lead the march for justice for Ahmaud Arbery, for the young man who was slain for jogging while black. Those people are poor people. They don't have money. He didn't do that for money. He did that because he loved them. And you know what he told them that he wanted from them? I'll tell you what he did want. Some good cooking. He loved the fact that they were amazing cooks, the family. And that's all he wanted, was a good meal.
Barbara, I'm so grateful that that you honored my dad. I'm so grateful that you spent time with my dad, that you helped nurture him, that you helped instruct him, that you helped show him that even on days when he was tired, that we had to continue the fight. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Tenacious Tuesdays with the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition, one of the great friends of Jesse Jackson. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Civil rights leader Reverend Jesse Jackson has died at 84. His son, Illinois Congressman Jonathan Jackson, says his father never gave up on him and lived each day fully.
I'm grateful to God for the time he's given us together. Thank you for the meaning of his life.
Jackson passed away surrounded by family after battling a rare form of Parkinson's disease. President Trump is blaming Maryland's Black Governor Wes Moore and other Democrats for a major wastewater spill in the Potomac River after a sewer line collapsed in Montgomery County. Trump called it an ecological disaster and said FEMA will help with cleanup. Governor Moore's office pushed back, saying the federal government has long been responsible for that pipe. And the executive director of the Major League Baseball Players Association, Tony Clark, is stepping down after more than a decade in the role. Clark, who is Black, led the union through 2 collective bargaining agreements. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill weekdays after 3 p.m. for their $5 happy hour and try their new Chili Crisp dumplings. Bold, crunchy, and tossed in a fiery crisp paired with a premium Waba beverage drink like their authentic Thai tea. Get both for just $5 only at Waba Grill. It's for you.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A couple of sports questions come up as people around the world remember the life and legacy of civil rights icon Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. What if the San Francisco Giants had offered Jackson more than $6,000 in 1959 to sign a minor league baseball contract? Jackson was a standout pitcher at Sterling High School in Greenville, South Carolina. What if the University of Illinois had given Jackson a fair chance to play quarterback? At 6'4", Jackson had the size and skills to earn a full scholarship from the Big Ten Conference school. Jackson stayed at Illinois just 1 year. He transferred in 1960 to HBCU North Carolina A&T. Jackson led A&T to the CIAA championship in 1964, but it was at North Carolina A&T where Jackson's focus shifted away from sports. Today, we can thank the San Francisco Giants and the University of Illinois for sending Jackson into a much more valuable direction. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hi, I'm Tavish Smiley, and I have some news. The room is full. Our founding members cohort on the Art of Conversation has begun, and I could not be more energized by the professionals who said yes to mastering the craft. Their dedication to curating great conversations reminds me why I do this work. Now, if you wanted to join us and did not make it in time, I want you to hear this. The next cohort is coming. I do not have the firm dates yet, but I do have a waiting list. And everyone on that list will receive early access and special discounts when enrollment opens. After almost 40 years of interviewing world leaders and cultural icons, I am teaching everything I know. Don't miss your chance to be in the next room. Go to TavishTalks.com and get on the waiting list right now. That's TavishTalks.com. The conversation continues. Will you be part of it?
Yeah, man.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
And handed me, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. My neighbors just walked into my home and handed me a wonderful card and expressed his condolences from my father. And so the outpouring of people saying thank you, saying they're so grateful for the life of Jesse Jackson. That's all we're asking. That's all I'm asking. And maybe I don't believe I'm asking too much. When the funeral services are made available, say thank you to Jesse Jackson. Not a perfect servant, but a public servant. And none of us are perfect servants. We're all just public servants trying to do our best against the odds. And I am particularly grateful in this hour that one of my father's best friends, Barbara Arnwine, who has been such a major contributing host on our show. She travels the entire country, not only on behalf of our show, but on behalf of the Transformative Justice Coalition. But we've seen her at the Supreme Court. We've seen her in the Congress. We've seen her in state legislatures. We've seen her raising hell. We've seen her at No King's Day. Barbara, welcome forward to the show. Tell us a little bit more about your friend, Jesse Jackson.
He taught me to be bold, bold, bold. You know, I am by nature kind of tenacious, as you said, and by nature a little bit, strong-willed. And that's always, people have always responded to that negatively. Trying to tamp it down, dampen it. Don't, be more silent. Don't fuss so much. Don't fight so hard. Your dad was the exact opposite. He was like, baby girl, I love that. Come on now.
He called himself, people called him the country preacher. He called himself, I'm just a country boy.
Right.
So he said, you don't know what I'm running for because you don't know what I'm running from.
Right.
So when you understand what my dad ran from, then everything else was on this side of the River Jordan. He was in high heaven, wasn't he, Barbara?
I mean, and that's what people don't understand. He loved being bold. He loved taking it to people. When that attorney down in Brunswick said, I don't want no pastors coming to this courtroom like Jesse Jackson. I don't want any of those.
He got under his skin, didn't he?
He said, I'm coming. He said, I'm coming. I'm bringing a whole lot of other people with me. That's how your dad responded. He didn't go, ooh, I should be worried about them down there in that KK clan country. And how could I go down there and make them mad? He was like, I'm coming. Let them know I'm on my way and I'm bringing my posse with me.
And I tell people all the time, Barbara, that the best tradition, for example, of Jesse Jackson, when you see it in a Tavis Smiley, when he challenges the Altadena fires and how it was created,
yes,
and we get our fair share. Man, that's all Jesse Jackson right there. And when you see Jamal Bryant, a third my father's age, saying, hey, we're going to take on Target. We're going to take on the big boy.
Yes, come on now.
That's Jesse Jackson right there.
That's his tradition. And that's what he wants us to do in this moment. He wants us to follow in that tradition. I'm so proud of Daryl Jones.
Absolutely.
Cameron Barnes and all the people who are right now, they're sending me these pictures because they are getting out the vote in Houston, Texas. Your dad's #1 concern center about voting. They're there and they're working, and we're nonpartisan. Nobody's paying us for any party, any candidate to do this. I'm so grateful that we had him to inspire us. Because one thing we know, the last time, I think back about your dad. I'm just thinking back about him at No Kings. I'm thinking about your dad at John Lewis Good Trouble Lives On. He couldn't, Daryl's, I think, trying to get in. He couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, but he was there because he knew his presence was inspirational. And every time anybody mentioned that he was there, somebody would say, he announced his name, the whole crowd would just roar. and when he got out there in that wheelchair with 70,000 people, come on, your dad, it wasn't about being seen. He was there because he knew his presence would give people inspiration.
A symbol of hope.
Right. Thank
A
you.
symbol of hope, just walking personified hope. And
Yes.
you can't ask for anything more than that. I mean, I think that is ministry. And let me share with you something very quickly. You know, Dad did
Please.
not have a church in Chicago that per se preached on Sunday. He was a preacher. He's a very good preacher. Aretha Franklin said he was one of the top 5 preachers in the tradition. She named C.L. Franklin her father. She named Jasper Williams. She named the Reverend Donald Parsons, and she put Jesse Jackson right in there. And so, you know, grateful to his good friend, Aretha Franklin and Roberta Flack.
Oh, yes.
So many others, Whitney Houston, Michael
Oh, yes.
Jackson. Dad brought the Victory Tour together. The brothers weren't sleeping. They all came to the meeting with their own lawyers, demanding the same amount of money that Michael makes.
Oh, my goodness.
Listen, this family has been blessed by everyone on earth. And I need to have a meeting with you all. These are the Jacksons. Have a meeting with you all without all these lawyers. And let's go back to when we first met in 1972. And that took them right back to 1972, and they produced one of the great tours in the history of modern music, the Jacksons Victory Tour. That was Jesse Jackson. So I am.
He was everywhere.
He was everywhere.
He was everywhere.
He was everywhere, and he was for everybody everywhere.
Yes.
There was no movement. There was no person who was left behind that Jesse Jackson didn't reach out to and demand fairness for them, regardless of their race, sex, or class. Yes, he was from our community, but Jesse Jackson saw the entire fabric of the American quilt, and he tried to sew it together and keep it together in the form of a rainbow coalition. Barbara?
You know, he would walk down the street and people would just utterly almost faint to see him. And they would run up to him and say, sign this, sign anything. They just wanted his signature. They just wanted a picture with him. They just, you went through this. And I'm gonna admit, I acted up one time because I was in the courthouse in Brunswick, and one of those evil defendant's attorneys on the other side, who had been talking all that trash about Reverend Jackson, came up to him because he wanted a picture. And I was mad, but your dad was gracious. He took that picture, and I walked out the door. I'm going to tell you the truth. And I walked out the door because I was so mad about it. But your dad took that picture, and he made me realize something, that, we determine the value of what happens in our lives. It's not, what external forces are that's looking at what's happening. He made that decision that that's the way he wanted to behave in that moment. And I think he also realized that it wasn't a get over moment for the other side, that it was actually a reckoning moment, that they're going to have to look at themselves and think about what they did. And sure enough, God took care of that, because the next time we're in court, that attorney who raised all that hell is on the chopping block. He's the one who's trying to defend himself, defend his actions for, just his bad practice at that moment. And it was so important that to see that, that God says justice is mine, right? Vengeance is mine. And that he is a God of justice, and your dad was a man of justice.
I'm Jesse Jackson. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, along with the Transformative Justice Coalition's president. More when we come forward on the great Jesse Jackson, when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the LifeFare program. Free passes for students with GoPass, and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money, or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Polly Polly drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, February 17th, 2026, a day that I will have to live with for the rest of my life. This is the day that my father, an African-American history maker, an American history maker, a global citizen, made his transition to be with God. So grateful for his life, so grateful for his work. I've tried, Barbara, all of my life to look at my father as objectively as I could, but I couldn't do it without being subjective. I accepted all of the great things that my dad did. I also accepted his own personal challenges and had to deal with my own. And I am just so grateful that the example he set for me was nothing short of fantastic. My dad, when I dropped him off at the funeral home this morning, just 3 hours after he had passed, I asked the Leak family, to whom I owe a tremendous debt of gratitude for the care and concern that they've shown to our family for more than 60 years.
My Lord.
If I could take him the last mile of the way. And I wheeled him into a very, very cold cooler.
Mm.
And I told Spencer when I left him there, I said that my dad would not want to be alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Loved people. And I was asking him if I could just stay at the funeral home with him today and every day until we have to say our final goodbyes.
Yes.
Because Dad wasn't the kind of guy that liked to be alone. He wanted community and he wanted to be around other people. And so he gave his whole life and his whole being to what we were about. And I thought he did it so well, so articulately, so clearly. He gave us hope. And the names and faces of so many nameless and faceless people have benefited from his work. Barbara, I know we're closing our show now. I'm going to leave these last 6 or so minutes of our show for your final word of hope, celebrating and honoring the life of the great Jesse Jackson.
Your dad was blessed to have you as a son. He was blessed to have you as his son. I mean, he was blessed. I mean, what a blessed man. You and just, all the inspiration. He would talk about your theories and about your writings. He loved you. He loved Jonathan. He loved Yusef. He loved Santita. Oh my God, his songbird. He loved, Jacqueline. He loved Ashley. He loved his children. And he knew that in each of you, he could see himself reflected. So much so, when I look at all of you, that beautiful bouquet, I just see him. I see him in so many ways, and your mom, of course. And I'm just so moved that he gave this world not only his life work, but he gave this world, he seeded it with his beautiful children. And for you to want to be there every day, to just say to his spirit, to the body, just to say, Dad, you're remembered until we let you go and you're in the ground, until you're gone, their body is put away. I'm here. And he knows that. He knows that. He knows you're there. I mean, he's listening right now and going, tell him about this.
Barbara, let me tell you something.
Tell me more about my big ones. Come on, tell him.
Dad used to say that funerals are not for the dearly departed.
Right.
He said funerals are for the living.
He believed that.
He said that that the guest at the funeral, the primary person to who has pulled us all together, has done what we couldn't do ourselves. He pulled us together.
Right.
So Dad said, and I want everyone to understand this before they start talking and all kind of mess. Dad said he wants everybody to come to his funeral.
Amen.
He wants the Democrats. He wants the Republicans.
That's
he wants
him.
the naysayers. He
That's
wants
him.
the blacks. the whites, the Jews, the Muslims. He wants everybody at his funeral because he was a citizen of that world. And if it's the last time all of these people gather, he wanted them to gather for him.
Yeah.
And he made it crystal clear to all of us. He made it clear that the same meeting will never take place again. No two funerals, he said, are on earth are the same. The same people that come to his funeral won't be coming to mine.
Nope.
Same people that are coming to yours won't be coming to anyone else's.
Hmm.
Each of us are uniquely tied to different people. And Dad understood that.
Yes.
My dad has opened his funeral up to every living soul. Yes, some of whom we might even disagree with. Interestingly enough, on a slightly different subject, the President of the United States tweeted today that Jesse Jackson, a friend of his, was a force of nature. Now imagine that. No negative tweet from the President of the United States about Jesse Jackson.
Because he was too focused on taking down Barack, right?
Not because Jesse Jackson didn't challenge Donald Trump, but the way in which he challenged Donald Trump was about making him better. Now, can you make him better? I'm not so sure. Dad was taking on a big mountain right there, but he tried.
Yes.
Give up on anybody. Dad never gave up on anybody. That's the story of Jesse Jackson. He doesn't give up on people. And we as Americans need to stop giving up on each other.
Please.
I think that's what Dad would tell me and tell us. Stop giving up on each other.
Please.
Give each other as many chances as they need. How often shall I forgive my neighbor? Until 7 times? Jesus says, no, not until 70 times 7. You've got to try that 490 times. You forgive that much, forgiveness becomes part of the very structure of who you are.
Yes.
My mother has been a soldier with so much courage. She loved her best friend until the end. She was his partner, and he was hers for more than 64 years. Barbara, thank you very much for being a friend of my dad's.
Thank you for allowing me to be there with him and for sharing him and for being a friend of mine. Your dad's legacy is amazing. We will be talking. My show today paid tribute to him, and at the very end, people were singing your mom's praises. Tonight, I'm gonna, and not too long after this show, I'll be on Roland Martin, who's doing a special tribute to your dad tonight. People, fight for justice.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest has been Barbara Arnwine, one of the best friends of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Please keep Mrs. Jackson and our family in your prayers. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.